this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show.
Hi, I'm Max.
I am Oliver's Ears.
I'm Nyniamh Sedai.
And I'm Bill, also known as Matt Stagger. Welcome to the Darkest Timeline episode. Oh, I love that. Okay. We're here to discuss The Wheel of Time, Season 3, Episodes 3 and 4. And I love Episode 3. We are going to talk about it, but please forgive us for rushing maybe a little bit through it because we really want to talk about Episode 4.
Oh, do we?
Sorry? Not sorry. I mean, other than Matt beating the crap out of the princess, we will take our time with that. That's basically how it'll probably go tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here. Max, Oliver's Ears. Yep. Nyniamh from Ireland, waking up at 1 a.m. Thank you so much for being awesome and waking up that early for us. We appreciate that.
Absolutely worth it. And I get to talk to you again, so, it's a double whammy.
We do have fun.
Well, I do have
Max, you want to give us the down low on these episodes?
Yep. Both episodes were directed by Thomas Napper. I have this information as to, what he has directed in the past. I have never heard of half of these shows.
Oh, Atonement's incredible.
Yeah. Mind you, that's known for, but on the left-hand side, like Atonement and Beauty and the Beast are like second unit or assistant director.
Gotcha.
Same with Pride and Prejudice. The right-hand side are the ones that he has directly directed. And those are the ones I've never watched. I've never watched Jawbone or World on Fire.
Yeah, I'm not up on these.
I think I've watched Baptiste a couple episodes.
I can't even read it. It's very small.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yep. Episode 3, Seeds of Shadow, Beverly Okio, probably butchering the name. She is known for Wheel of Time. On the left-hand side, we see the episodes that she has writing on. Particularly, this is the only episode she has written for. The other one she has story editing credits for. So she's written for this series before. Mainly this season. But this is the episode she wrote. She also has writing credits on Spartacus, House of Asher, and Them.
Them is really good. I have watched that series, and I enjoyed it very much. So I am a little bit familiar with her work, and I can sort of see her hand in Episode 3 just from Them.
And I'm not sure about Spartacus, House of Asher. I don't think I've seen that one.
I haven't seen that one.
I've seen the other series they've done. So I can kind of see that Spartacus, House of Asher in the wedding scene. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one scene where we can all agree with the Black Aja.
Yeah.
Which I never thought would happen, but I'm like, yeah, no, kill him. Absolutely, I'm on your side, Leandra. I mean,
Episode 4, Road to the Spear, is written by, I don't know who this guy is. He's got a profile picture on IMDb.
Was that Jafe Rudkins?
Never heard of him before. He did the Uncharted movie in Hemlock Grove and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess.
I love it says his name,
Survivor.
But the picture below it is a Trolloc. I just love that.
That's what they had on IMDb.
I know, it's just funny.
Love it. Love it.
It's actually a video. It's actually a video clip. They don't even have a picture on it.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, the disrespect continues.
And I don't know if he's managing that page or someone else is. But
no, I get you.
Yeah.
They don't seem to get any respect. And after last season, Maddie's performance and the costuming didn't even get a nod for anything. Sort of made me angry. So I'm like, yeah, this disrespect needs to stop.
They need to give them something this year. It would be absolutely ridiculous. But they did the same thing with Penny Dreadful. So
Oh, I love that
they're
show too.
very like, I mean, Eva Green was just so spectacular in that show, and she barely ever got any recognition. So I'm not surprised that they snub.
Yeah, Sharon Gilliam, who does the costuming for Wheel of Time, is amazing. I don't know.
She should have gotten stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
how the heck did Fallout, which has got costumes based on the game itself, get nominated? But Sharon Gilliam didn't get nominated for her Sean Chang costumes. It's just like the amount of thought and originality put into those costumes should have superseded costumes copied from the computer game.
So are
right.
they the same year?
One would think so.
Yeah.
One would think so. I think a part of it too may be, when they look at costuming, they're looking at the overall series as
Mm.
opposed to any particular costume. But yeah, I agree. Generally, her costuming was really fine last year. This year, she's knocking it out of the park. For goodness sakes.
Well, that's a fair point, but they did have to make them fit and make them look good, Rapunzel. But that is a fair point. I will give the edge to Wheel of Time 100% on costuming.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Fallout was the next year for Oscar stuff.
Oh, okay.
So if that helps any.
All
What
right.
about Emmy stuff?
It's same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just
But,
messing with Max.
Any of that stuff, it'd be the following year. I can't remember what shows came out in 23 for season 2 that would be contender for costumes.
Oh, we could probably look it up real easy, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but we're here to talk Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
talk
true,
episode
true.
3.
Yeah.
We're going to do it different the way we did last time. I think we're just going to sort of run through the episode. Mitch, did you take notes on these?
Yeah, I've got all the
Knew you
ducks
would.
lined up here.
Well, let's run through episode 3 and we can sort of go through beat by beat and run
Okay.
through it.
Well, it opens with the Forsaken meeting.
Yes.
Which
Which made
Oh,
me
yeah.
very happy. I
Yeah.
don't know about anybody else, but
Well,
I
as-
was
as book readers,
extremely
I
happy.
think we already knew about Ravine,
Oh,
but
nice.
I am very curious what any of the show watchers may have thought. I mean, was that like a super surprise or what?
I think
can
we're all
answer-
booked to show, aren't we?
Yeah,
We're all
well,
booked
my
on
wife has
show.
never read the books, so I go by her. And the episode before, when everybody kept hesitating, she's like, "What is up with that guy?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Oh,
So she was
caught
like
that.
not really surprised. She knew there was something, but she just thought it was weird. She
Okay.
didn't think he was a Forsaken, so she was a little surprised.
Okay.
He was a little too suave.
I mean, he's a handsome fella.
Yeah.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crackers. I'm just saying.
Neither would I. Sorry. Absolutely would not.
It's fair.
It's very fair. He's got that, yeah.
Yeah, there's just something suave about him. I don't know what it is, but it's suave. We also got to look at Samael, who, I mean, this bone armor is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the little
Absolutely
details of the
perfect.
bones coming up.
Mhm.
Oh,
Now, he would
Absolutely
kick out of the bed
perfect.
with crackers, right?
I wouldn't even
Um,
get into the bed.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, he's not.
Don't
He's
don't get me wrong. I love my Glaswegians. My husband's a Glaswegian, but yeah, no.
yeah, he's not making it there. He's not making it out of the pub. I will have a beer with him. Absolutely.
Oh,
he's not. I'm not bringing him home.
absolutely.
I'm not
He
bringing
would
him home.
be
Now, was he
completely
short
amazing
enough?
Crack.
I don't know. He didn't stand close enough to anybody for me to get a real good judge of his height.
I thought he looked pretty
mean-
short. Yeah.
I was.
He's quite short. He's definitely quite short.
I still would have hoped they would have cast someone like Danny DeVito for that.
Oh, God. No, that's too much.
Oh,
No.
that's
No.
that's a bit much. I don't know how he would play it.
Excellent is the answer.
I mean, well, yeah, but at the same time, it would be hilarious, which is not the goal.
Yeah.
Unless
yeah.
you're Asmodean. Then you can get away with a little bit of humor. We can hope.
Yeah.
We can hope he shows up.
I don't know.
Well,
DeVito
yeah.
can play a pretty dark character.
Yeah, sending the Wayback Machine when he played the Penguin in one of the early Batman films, he was creepy. He was genuinely creepy.
True. I'll give you that. It would have been interesting. Let's just say that. But yeah, the funny thing is, in the books, he's average height. He just thinks he's short because Lews Therin was taller than him. And that was the reason he turned evil, which is just batshit insane. Who goes to the evil side because the other guy's taller?
He's
Well,
5'7".
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
just
he's
Googled.
average height. It's like, relax, man. Not a big deal.
And see, it's a new turning of the wheel, so you just make him even shorter each turning.
I would love
Yeah.
to see that, honestly. But I
30
gotta
turnings
say,
from now, he's mini me.
So, in the course of the meeting, it seems that Lanfear has some plans, and she's goading the two of them, particularly regarding Moghedien. And she gets in a nice little at Samael regarding his strength.
well, he gets one on her with the rug comment. So
Oh,
Ren-
you were
what was
so
it?
in love with Lews Therin that you would have lied on the floor in front of the fire if he said rug. And I'm like,
And then he's
"Ooh."
like, Randall
Ew.
Tour, just throwing
Yeah.
Rand's name back at her because he just knows he's not an idiot. I think he was perfect casting. Samael should always have been Glaswegian.
I love the fact they're using different accents. I mean, these characters
Yeah.
are from different places around the world before it broke, so they would have different accents. Hey,
Mhm.
Wadaholic, good to see you. Thanks for being here, Ben.
Speaking of accents, I have not been trying to do this, but do we have someone from a known land or people from a known land always having the same accent? For example, when we get to Galena, she has that
So
thicker Irish brogue.
Yeah,
And
she's a Dubliner like me. Northsiders.
But does she come from the same Randland or part of Randland? No, Samael doesn't come
well,
from
no, he
part of
speaks
Randland.
Scots.
Yeah, but I'm
So-
wondering if they're doing anything about relating any obvious accents to the origins
Shan-Chan.
of the characters.
The
There
Shan-Chan
is
all have American accents, so yeah.
and there's Scandi Germanic accents for all the Aiel. The Tuata'an are nearly all Irish accents. Even Yosha puts on an Irish accent or attempts. Sorry, it was really bad. Attempts to put an Irish accent on in one of the scenes.
See, it sounded fine to me, so that tells you how well I could speak it. I'm like, it sounded fine.
awful. Sorry, it really wasn't.
No,
great.
that's fine. It's your language. I mean, you would understand the accent better than I would.
Yeah. And
Well,
then all the Edmonds Fielders are all English accents. So there is a distinction
Fundamentally, yeah.
with accents so far. And the Scouse accent in Tanchico also at the moment, which we get in episode 3, was perfect. So
I didn't pay that much attention to the accents in Tanchico. I need to
I
go
didn't
back
either.
for a rewatch anyway.
I didn't clock it.
Yeah.
What I did like about the Forsaken meeting, though, was actually seeing a gateway. And I kind of liked it a lot more than I liked the book description. I mean, that whole sort of warping reality behind the bubble and that Lanfear throws at him, I kind of liked it. So,
from the books, I kind of had the elevator opening type image in my mind.
Yeah, I kind of did too. More like a beam of light that would go this way and then turn.
Yeah,
and then
it opens.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of like what they did here. I am interested to see how they handle like a person who's in the way, because I do want to see what happens when that happens. I'm sorry, I'm a little morbid sometimes. I just want to see what happens.
It'll probably happen when we meet, was it Grendel?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that
bring
could
her
be.
on.
Now,
Yeah, that's
did
a
you
valid
like?
point.
Did you like the fact that Samael backed into his? He never turned his back.
Never turned his back on any of them, which is, appropriate. As we all know, they fight themselves more than they fight the light.
Yeah.
100%. Every time, all the time. They even mention it. They're like, this is what we did last time. We can't do that. And they're still doing it, which is great.
And then
But I do love Moggy just sort of creeping around the corner listening. That
Coming
was a
out of
nice
the
little
shadows.
touch. Yeah.
That's what
I
she's
like
all
that.
about. This is why she.
Was that a little creepy at the end?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what it is with the Forsaken that they have to touch everybody's faces. But sure enough, Gabriel walked up and touched her face. And I'm like, did they just not have personal boundaries in the Age of Legends and, the time before that? Or have they been starved for human contact for so long that they all feel the need? Because Ishii was constantly touching people's faces. So is Lanfear.
When you swear the Dark Oath, you lose personal boundaries.
That makes sense.
That bubble just disappears.
In a way, that kind of does make sense. Yeah, that's a good point, Rapunzel. He even touched a Trolloc face.
Yeah. And the Trolloc liked it. Okay. Next, we're in the White Tower. We've got Elaine and Nyniamh. They're starting their little detective agency.
The Wonder Girls Detective Agency.
And they're kind of bouncing back between. Well, actually, I guess they have a meeting with Varen and was Swan there? But they had a little meeting first, and then they get into the whole detective agency thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're chatting with Amiko, who is crying, sobbing, trying to act like she's so scared and everything, which we all know is complete and total BS. But they quickly switch over to Joya, who is just, this actress is stunning looking.
Isn't she just?
And I'm like, even with the bruise on her head and the blood stain on her face, I'm like, she's gorgeous. Just everything. And why is everybody so hot in this show? Everybody. It's a little annoying.
Yep.
But the whole point is they're trying to get information. And I mean, on one hand, I can see sending in people they wouldn't expect to interrogate them. On the other hand, you are sending in accepted who don't know what they're doing. One of them can't reliably channel. The other one is the daughter heir of freaking Andor, whose mother just said, if anything happens to her, I'm coming back with an army. And the first thing you do is shove her in a room with Black Aja.
Well, and the
That is
other
crazy.
thing, their combined ages aren't as much as either one of the Aes Sedai, for goodness sakes. And they're the ones who are interrogating? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I begin to question Swan's political decisions. Well, I actually began in episode 1. I think keeping the Reds out of the tower was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, this season, she is misstepping. The only thing she's handled right was that conversation with Matt in episode 2 about the horn.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
That is the only thing she's nailed. Everything else has been a mistake.
I think they're trying to show that she's unraveling in her
Yeah.
strength and that she's vulnerable, and we get it in a lot of the portrayal by Sophie Okonedo, and I think it's really good. I have seen a lot of people complain that she's not been a strong Amerlin, but there's a purpose to that. How can you have people start to doubt her power if she's not showing that vulnerability and those mistakes and those errors are coming across? And I think a lot of that comes from the last season, with what happened at the Waygate. So the betrayal of her, I think, is on point for what's about to, no spoilers, is on point for this period of the White Tower, so that you start to get the crack opening up
Yeah.
and everything's starting to crumble and all those little mistakes. And it says an awful lot when she even turns around to the girls and says that she doesn't trust even Liana. So she's
Mhm.
getting paranoid now as well because of what happened. So I think it's going to have a lot of consequence.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the Waygate from last season,
Mm,
because that was a personal defeat for her. That wasn't public. I mean, the only ones who know
no.
about it aren't involved.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It sowed a certain level of confusion in her own mind as to what she's doing and whether she's capable of doing it. Then episode 1 happens, and it all goes to hell. The word's out everywhere.
Mhm.
I mean, you can fix the columns, but Elida's going to notice.
Yeah, the cracks are
Oh,
still there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way.
She's
So,
cunning.
yeah.
We all know how it sort of happened in the books. We all
Yeah.
saw it as it was a little bit more gradual, and I think that was the
Mm.
thing that was grabbing me. Is this is pretty rapidly a lot of mistakes. I'd like to headcanon for the show. Think Moraine helped her out a lot with political stuff since she's Carian and she's better at it. She's played the game of houses, but now Moraine is completely separated from her, and that's when she starts making mistakes. She doesn't have Moraine sort of ear to bend and get advice from. So that's my headcanon reason that she's making so many mistakes so quickly in this season. I get it happens. It has to happen. In the books, it
Mhm.
does happen. It just happens slowly.
Yeah.
But they don't have
No.
time for that. Like the
No.
Matt thing. They have course correction to do. They
Yeah.
need to move.
That's
And
what
I
I was gonna.
appreciate that.
That's what I was gonna bring up, is that with all the random, not really random, but the changes they had to bring up since season 1
Yeah.
throughout, that they're gonna have to pivot all these different storylines that have now course corrected and trying to get it more on track of what it was, but also how they're changing the story to just, I don't know how to explain it, but Matt going to Tenchico now instead of the Waste,
Yeah.
that has all these ramifications where all the storylines were and now where they're at now, and that changed the tower.
Okay. So that speaking of which, going to Tenchico, the girls accidentally discover something that Leandrin had left behind under the
I
bed.
love the fact that it's a two-way ritual for her people, which means she couldn't get rid of it. She couldn't destroy it before she left. It has to be the place he died, and it has to be the place he was born. So she couldn't get rid of it. Because I saw people go, why'd she leave that? She had to. That's part of the ritual, is it has to be in the place he died. So just wanted to get that out there, because I saw a lot of people going, I don't get it. And I'm like, no, it's a 2-part ritual. Elaine explains it sort of.
Yeah, she does. And it's a grief thing. When you're grieving, you don't always think about the consequences of your actions. And her son meant so much to her, and it was important for her to do that. But at the same time, it unfortunately left a giant clue to where she was going next.
Yeah. A cultural clue that was easy to look up, apparently, because all those books, they found the right one pretty quick. So
I was going to question that.
I was going to say this. kind of leads me to a segue regarding Leandrin's son and Mughedian. So the prior episode, we saw Mughedian create a gray man, right?
Yes.
And that's the first instance we've seen of someone creating any kind of shadow spawn.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we don't know what other kind of shadow spawn Mughedian can possibly create.
I think they've merged her with Aganor.
Yeah. I think we're going to get each Forsaken having their own little thing. We may end up with what maybe Samuel's thing is Dark Hounds. Maybe Simraj's whole thing is going to be Drakkar.
Well, so this is what I was going to think about.
That would be cool.
So Matt's heading to Tanchico. Mughedian's in Tanchico. And Leandrin's story with her boy might not be finished. And if Mughedian can create shadow spawn.
Ooh, that would be so mean to bring her.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think of that. Jesus.
So my thought was like, we also have Leandrin with the brainwashed girl.
See, that's where she lost me. The whole, let's kill the pedophile thing, rip his heart out. I was okay with that. Honestly, it's the first time I've rooted for the Black Aja. I'm like, all right, cool. But then she got to the girl and she got to the girl and took away her agency and Joyce and just mind wiped her. And I'm like,
you've got to think of it from an abuse perspective. We don't know what level of abuse she's had from the hands of the other guy yet, and that's trauma. That's PTSD that could keep resurfacing. We can see Leandrin's trauma from her abuse has stuck with her 95 years later. So there is the whole thing. She's not taking away the agency. She's taking away the memory of the abuse. So the child doesn't end up having the same trauma that she had to experience.
No, she loses more than that.
Well, she loses all the memories. Yeah.
Yeah, she loses everything because what was her name? Naomi even said she's going to lose more than today.
So,
and
what's the worst assassin besides the Gray Man?
I think the Drakkar.
My cooking.
I was gonna say the Golem.
Oh my gosh! I really hope they have the Golem.
Henry Cavill for Golem. I want Henry Cavill for the Golem.
Because if Matt
is a Wheel of Time fan,
if Matt gets a pendant, and that can do something in Moggy this season, and if she creates the Golem,
that'd be great.
I can see this developing from this season onward.
There are posters, the wide view posters of Matt. He is wearing a fox head necklace.
Yeah.
So we probably are getting it, which I think he'll probably find it in Tanchico. That's my guess.
The Golem, the first time we came across that was down in Abu Dar, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Thailand.
I was kind of sure, but I wasn't absolute. All right. We have to move on. We do have 2 episodes to cover here.
Yep.
So to finish out the detective agency, a Gray Man does show up, as you guys were just talking about. And we have an observation by Nyniamh after the fact, which is indicative of something.
Very much. Yeah, it's the did you notice that Varen didn't ask us who stabbed him? But at the same time, that's not inconsistent with the flighty brown sister Varen plays. So at the same time, it's like that's not really an indicator. We've seen her play that before. She did it with Leandrin in season 2. So with her, it's really hard to tell when she's putting on an act or when she's really thinking about something else, which I love that the actress is able to pull that off.
I love it.
And I mean, that whole thing of why are you here? I live here. Why are you here? That was just great.
But that was the Sheriam part in the books, was it not?
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Someone's gotta check like scenes where she has that curly hair thing going on, and when it's down. Like
Oh.
check scenes where she has her hair like doing that fancy stuff and down, and like what she's doing in those scenes.
I didn't
I just have to
comment
take a
on that.
moment to say welcome, Mr. Stovey, my mistress and master.
She's
Okay,
amazing.
you may go on.
I didn't mention it last week, but I had had it in my notes. Her hair, as an old song by some guy whose name I can't remember, is perfect. That the curl and everything when she gets zapped in the head, that whole sequence, her hair. I don't know what that design was. I would love to see people walking around looking like that. I think that would look so cool.
Isn't it not kind of a take on a victory role from
Yeah,
the
I think
40s?
it is.
Yeah.
That's what my
is
wife
that what
said
it's
anyway.
called?
She said
A
it's like a
victory
victory role.
role.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I only know that because my
post-war.
wife pointed it out to me. I'm like, I have no idea.
All right. Leaving the detective agency, we get back into the politics of it all. Elida.
Eh.
Elida, Elida, Elida.
Oh, I love her and I hate her. It's
Yeah.
Showray, and
So she is
Not
prevented
worthy.
from visiting Swan.
You know?
She tries to. I just made a note. She tries to butter up Galena and Tsutama. So she's kind of working her little bit of magic. She has a quick meeting with Queen Morghese in there as well. Elida.
Yeah, her whole shaky hand thing. I'm like, okay, is that because Gabriel has been having her under the influence of compulsion for so long, for like a month straight? If you remember last season, Varen was able to pick up that somebody might be compulsed due to a tremor in their handwriting. So I'm like, is that why her hand was shaking like that? Or
I never
is
thought of that.
yeah, so I'm like,
that's good.
Is it the compulsion doing that, or is there something physically wrong with her? I'm not sure, but I like to think it's the compulsion. It sort of ties together. So
I went down the physically wrong bit, but then I was also thinking, was it something tied to the bracelet? Was the bracelet preventing stuff? Because she's clearly gone to the snakes and foxes and gotten that bracelet. Where else would she have gotten it? It's a beautiful bracelet. I wanted.
Or maybe the bracelet might be her way in.
Yeah.
Very much like the oven belief.
if you're not sure, that's what we're talking about. This bracelet. You can clearly see snakes and foxes on it. And when Min asks her about it, she says, well, it's a sort of foretelling. So
that is something else, is that the last person we know in the TV show who has had foretellings has died from them.
Yes, Guitarra.
Yep.
So maybe she's afraid. Maybe it's stopping her from having a lot of premonitions because she's afraid that she'll have one that will also kill her life, take her life away. The way Guitarra died. So maybe it's something to stop anything. Maybe she became fearful of the premonitions. Was she not a bit fearful of her tellings?
Or the shaking could be a premonition coming on.
Yeah, and this bracelet stopping it from coming on. Maybe.
It'll be interesting to see if that comes back up at a later time.
It will. I'm 100% convinced she's been through the archway.
100%.
That's where she's getting some of her information on what's going on now. That's how she knew to stay at the tower. So, yeah. It's Showray, so I love her, but at the same time, I hate Elida with a passion.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm so with you. I absolutely hated the character in the books, but it's Showray, and I absolutely adore her as an actress. She's just such an incredible actress, and everything I've ever seen her in has been out of this world. So I'm just loving her as Elida. I never thought I'd say the words loving someone as Elida. So
Yeah, it's
So-
weird.
Yep.
So does it mean when we get Cad Swan, they're going to give us Dolores Umbridge as Cad Swan?
Oh, Cat
Oh,
Swain.
you know,
oh,
she could
Who
pull
do
it
I-
off.
oh, she totally could.
Yes, she could.
Yeah.
And she'd make us hate her the entire
I
time.
don't like that though. It tastes bad. I don't know why. Max, why are you doing this to me? I don't want to think about Dolores Umbridge as Cad Swain. Ugh.
Okay.
I got
Getting
the
back on
ick.
topic, Elida is stopped from seeing Swan by Leanna and Varen.
Yeah,
And we
and
have a
SmackDown
little-
with the rules.
Yeah,
Sorry, only
and-
a sitter can request a private audience.
And Elida doesn't fight back immediately, which it's one of those things. You can't go forward, so why waste the men and materials? And then she finds her way to the red chambers. Their
Hey,
sitting room.
BLT. Yeah, I don't think she has the political capital to push yet. It's not until Swan sends everybody away that she's able to get a spot as a sitter. Which again, I'm like, oh, Swan, that was a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
So
Kitty.
cute.
I know.
I
I
Kitty
love your
always
cat.
wins.
I've got one right beside me who's getting strokes as I'm sitting here.
Mine
So
ran away.
Elida is proposing
From me.
that they send
Uh-huh.
out a group and cage Randall Thor. And
Which for book
obviously-
readers, you know what that
Yeah.
means.
if you know, you know. Tsutama, why can I never say her name? Obviously is not in favor of that idea, though Galena seems to have her interest is piqued. We'll put it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we have Elida talking with Min. And to me, she set the seeds for Min to report back to Swan. And that's why Swan ordered that mushroom tame be tamed.
Yeah. I reckon you're right there.
Which is what she wanted because she wanted a seat. She wanted to be a sitter. So
I think Elida actually set Min up. She
Yes.
she brought Min in, here we're all a family, you and I were seers, and I'm going to blind you with my astuteness, and you are going to do my will unwillingly, and talk to Swan and get her to do what I want to do, even though you don't know that's what I want her to do.
I buy that 100% because she is that good. And you're right, she does Deus Damar almost from the moment she walks in the tower. She's moving pieces on a chessboard. At the same time, I think she is genuinely helping Min. Min has never seen a positive in her powers in the show. She hates them. She wants to get rid of them to the point where she basically turned on Matt to get rid of them. But for the first time, she has a glimmer of hope of, okay, if I pay attention to what's leading up to and what comes out of my visions, there is a possibility I can do good from that.
So
And
I have
Elida gives her that hope.
I have a quick question then. Do you see a parallel between Min and Elida, as we see with Nyniamh and
Leandrin?
Leandrin? Thank you.
Yeah. I do. Just in that her way of helping her also served her purpose way more.
Right.
So, I think she went into it with, I'm going to advance my purpose, but at the same time, she does recognize somebody suffering a little bit of maybe what she went through when she was younger. And she throws out a nugget of advice on top of everything else to get her to trust her and trust her word a little bit, which, Min immediately runs the Swan with probably, which is why they send out that many sisters. But we do get Mazrim Taim, so yay.
And then we finish out the tower stuff with Nyniamh telling Matt they're going to leave. Matt argues with her, and some boisterous young prince has got to get involved. And then all of a sudden, the sticks come out.
Which we've all been waiting for. And frankly, they've been edging us for 2 episodes now. They keep showing them sparring and Matt there. And we're like, this is it. This is it. Nope. This is it. Nope. Damn it. All right. Well, you just give me what I want already. And then they finally do. And it was so satisfying.
Oh my God. It was incredible. And I loved the moment that the music came on from the Heroes of the Horn. And you just knew he was in that essence and in that moment, and he was going to kick ass. And it was everything and more, in my opinion. It was just brilliant. And it was nice seeing Gawain get knocked on his arse, especially considering the actor had a sneer on his face at one point that made me go, I just want to punch that face.
Oh, exactly. They are so punchable, both of them. And I mean, I loved it.
Yes, but Galad more so, and which is how he's presented in the book. Actually, I think the guy doing Galad and the way he's written, nailing it.
My God, he's brilliant.
100%. Yeah.
The
fact that I want to punch him is to his credit.
No, the fact that I look at his face and go, actually, he's got a really nice face.
He's beautiful. I'm not going to deny you that.
I'm not going to deny that either. He's very good looking. Very good looking. And it's like he's just oozing Galad. Just oozing him. Perfect.
I just love he's running around the White Tower having sex with novices. Where's the mistress of novices, man? Where is Shiriam?
Where is Shiriam?
This should not be happening.
Yep.
And not just that, but he's also white knighting people who don't want his help. Min and Nyniamh were like, dude, we don't need your help. We're fine.
Take a day off.
Right? I love that line.
Mate, take a day off.
Take a day off.
Yeah.
And Donal said it so perfectly. The way Donal enunciated the mate, take a day off. It was just like, really, like, just showed how his own scale was up here somewhere of pissed off,
Well, they also considered the time of day that they were down there. They just got done with the novices, so they came down to practice with their swords.
Yeah. Are you guys having
usually
the same
when
problem?
I take a nap, but whatever. I mean, sure.
Are you having the same problem I do as far as when everything is happening in the course of a day or one day to the next? And is it morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night? I can't keep it straight.
Only when they're in the tower and we don't have windows. That's when it gets, okay, this could be 5 minutes later. This could be 5 hours later. I do get to that point because everything is, you'll see flames. So if they're in a scene with no windows, it's lit by flame. And I'm like, this could be any time.
Yeah.
So I get that too.
I took the fight as night because it was fairly dark in that scene at that point in time, where it was fairly light when they were doing the first fight we saw with them.
Oh, okay, God, so how obnoxious was that fight? I hated that so much.
So a quick poll between us, or amongst us, your anticipation of the fight and the actual fight, 1 to 10.
10.
Anticipation was at 11.
Yeah. Everything.
The actual fight was a 10. It doesn't go above 10, quite to 11, only because I would have liked it if there would have been at least a warder trainer there to sort of give the story that a lot of people miss from Origins of who was the greatest blade master of all, Gaidin. Who was he defeated by? A farmer with a quarterstaff.
Yeah.
Just to drive home the point of you just saw basically this bumpkin with a quarterstaff beat the crap out of these two who are the best non-warder swordsmen we have. Driving that home would have made me a little bit happy and made it an 11, but it's still a 10 because they're so punchable. For me. Max, what about
I
you?
agree.
Anticipation, I was kind of mellowing it out on that. Like I wasn't really expecting much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No,
I was trying to keep my expectations low. But for what we got, I put about an 8. Mainly because I wanted that larger crowd size there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted the trainer as the Blade Master to basically just almost laugh at Galad and like
Yeah.
armor and all that. But we didn't get that, but it's still good.
Well, I'm going to give it a 38 out of 42.
Yep. The answer to everything.
And once again, only because there wasn't the crowd. That's the only reason.
Nyniamh, what about you?
10 out of 10 for me. And I think because we had the origin story, they didn't really need it. They didn't need, in my opinion, they didn't need
it wasn't
the crowd
needed. I
because
just
we
wanted it.
had the context. We had the
Yeah.
context, so people could go, "Oh my god, that's the bit that was told in the origin story." You know, the farmer, and they could connect the two. Then it gave them context to connect to the scene. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
So.
same. It's one of my favorite scenes from the entire series. It fills my heart with joy. And
I think
these actors, like I said, the fact that I want to punch them so bad is to their credit. They are playing everything perfect.
That's what I mean about Luke Featherington. No offense to the actor, I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but there's just this one moment in just before the fight scene happens where he does this real sleazy, horrible, sneery face, like who's this bumpkin think he is, kind of thing. And it was just in that moment I was like, oh, I just could kick him in the shin, you know. And I think that's a credit to the actor that he's put that essence out there, that he's made people actually react to the character in the way that I think most of us react to him in the book. You know, it's likable. So.
And you put it perfectly too, because he took 2 to the shins.
Yeah.
And at the second time is when he was getting up and he slammed his hand down and said, "Damn it," or whatever it was, because he got bested again in the same spot.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that's when they take off to Tanchico, and that pretty much wraps up the episode, although they are being followed by Min, which, like I said, I think Elida is a big part of why Min is following. That vision she saw of Matt is bothering her.
I think she wants to be there to save Matt, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
see if she can affect it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's her friend. Sorry, Max.
So it also gets Min out of Elida's room.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
was
great.
Suan's plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do love the fact that Matt steals the apples, but then leaves some money behind. So.
Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't steal. He absolutely drops money every time he grabs food off a table. Yeah. He does it twice. He does it once in the background, and he leaves money, and then he grabs the apples, and then he turns around and drops the money, and you're like, that's so Matt.
So that's how we leave the tower. Next, we go to the Two Rivers. I think we open up with Perrin in the orchard, and he buries his wedding ring. Alana comes up and talks with them. We can cover that real quick. There are a few other things that happen, but this is kind of a good exposition point for the show, I thought.
I think it is, but it also dives into the difficulties of polyamory and how it sort of changes the dynamic of grief. So I think diving into that was a good idea, because it is going to affect, this 3-person group differently than it would just a 2-person group. So I love the fact that they actually took the time to sort of step into that and go, whose grief is it? Especially when they can feel each other and, she's guarding herself so that she doesn't drown in his grief. His is so strong it's overpowering hers. So it's almost like she has zero chance to grieve herself because she's too busy dealing with his grief and hiding
Yeah.
from the depth of it. And I think it was just beautifully written, the entire scene, the discussion.
Yeah, I think it was amazing to show the different, also to show the different rituals that people have regarding death. So we see parents' family with the trees, which I agree with Rapunzel. I want to be a tree. And then the fact that Alana's wearing Ivan's ashes
Mhm.
on her face, which is
Yeah.
another, you know, I think it's just a lovely way to show traditions around death, and then we get the elements of how people get to grieve, or in the case of parent didn't get to grieve. He didn't
Right.
even get to see Layla get
Mhm.
buried.
Yeah, he says
Um,
that. He's like, I missed her
yeah,
funeral.
Now, was
yeah.
that at the end of episode 2 or beginning of 3 when Perrin and them all stepped out of the Waygate?
That was
Two.
the previous.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
two.
Because Loyal had mentioned that they smelled ashes.
Yeah.
So this was the confirmation of where that took place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it was probably them two. And I'm not 100%, but they did have access to a Waygate map last season because Varen had one and she was showing them trying to find the Waygate in Camelin. Was it Camelin? Oh, no. Yeah, Camelin.
Yeah.
Or Carian. Sorry. Carian. Not
Irene,
Camelin.
yeah.
Yeah, it was Carian. But yeah, he smelled ashes, but that's still.
They
What
had
if
blamed
that
like
was
they had blamed like
Lord
Trollocs
Luke?
and they had blamed like Trollocs and stuff, but then we find Alana and the ash stuff is like
Yeah. If you remember in season 1, when the green Aes Sedai died, she had white down her face. She was singing the song for as they were burying the bodies.
Right.
She had that white paint down, striped down her face.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if that was her friend's ashes as well. I'm like, okay, that tracks.
Well, but the friend hadn't been burned. I didn't
No,
think.
they were all buried.
They're Aes
So-
Sedai. You can burn a foot off, or a toe. Nobody's gonna know.
Oh
A
yeah.
finger.
Well, the White Cloaks know all about that.
Oh God.
Speaking of white cloaks,
Uh,
they indeed are in the two rivers.
Yep.
And we get our favorite white cloak that we all love so much. Himenvold.
Art.
but we didn't get him eating a bird this time though.
Thank God. That was really disturbing.
That's a real thing. I want everyone to know that. That is
Yeah.
a real thing. That's an actual dish
Yeah,
you
it
can
is.
order,
Oh,
which is
okay.
horrifying.
I wonder what
But
other
he's not alone.
foods they're gonna give him next season to eat.
Ooh.
Um,
Darkhound.
and Aes Sedai.
Oh, geez.
I mean, he's cooking them. It could happen. Okay, that was wrong. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Yes, I am.
The only thing I can think of is those pickled eggs.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Balut?
just as bad in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Of course, we also get Dane, who is obviously not doing well.
Disheveled.
He's a little deep in his cups throughout every episode now.
I was
Mostly,
going to ask about that. Do you think that's become a habit for him?
yeah. Well, they showed him getting alcohol out of a keg, and it
Mhm.
was morning. So yeah,
Oh no.
I'm here for it, Nomengard. I'm here for it.
Oh
Just
God.
bites it. I can
I'm
see him doing that.
disturbed.
I'm pretty sure they have another visitor with them. I've noticed little clues in the background of some sloppiness in the camp
Oh,
that shouldn't be there. So I do believe they have a guest.
Now, personally, I think that guess might be part of the reinforcements that he asked for.
That would be great. I didn't think of that, but I did see like some parting and stuff laying around on the ground, and I'm like, I wonder if that's, I'm like, no. But it would make more sense for them to actually be part of reinforcements.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't whistle. Jesus.
Yeah. So there is a once he and Alana get back to the inn, we find out that Ben and Chiad have been wanting to play some games, and they discover that Matt's family has been captured, or his mom and his two sisters.
And we are introduced to everybody's sometimes favorite, sometimes problematic character, Fail.
No, I love Fail, but she's definitely Marmite. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Lord Luke with that introduction.
He was a bit of a
No, I was going to bring
letdown.
up Lord Luke, but Fail's way more important.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're getting the same Lord Luke that we got in the books. I don't think we're getting that version of Slayer.
We'll see.
I found him a bit of an anticlimax. He was very disappointing, and not one scene we had him in.
Yeah, he wasn't impressive.
He was very he didn't give me any this is Lord Luke vibes. He just gave me this is just a bloke they're calling Lord Luke who just so happens to be a hero of the Horn.
Yeah.
So
I love that Perrin immediately steps up and goes, Lord of what? And just stares at him and doesn't get an answer.
Yeah. I'd always thought of Lord Luke as being sort of a flirty Valen Luca type character, along those lines. That's what I'd always imagined.
He in the book he was very boisterous, but he was also very self-centered. Thought he knew the answer to everything. Argued with the Perrin and the villagers when Perrin was telling them you should come into the two rivers out of the farms. Luke's like, no, you shouldn't. And Perrin's like, dude, you need to shut up. So I mean that dynamic really isn't there yet. They could develop it.
yeah,
Maybe Luke's going to be a bigger problem later.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So then Perrin, in his infinite wisdom, figures, the best solution, just turn myself in. Then
that's very Perrin. So
yeah, then you get the not Natty Coffin, Egwene's mom turns him.
Marin Alver. Yeah, Marin Alver.
Thank you. Yeah, and she kind of turns him away from that idea. He has a couple of conversations with this young woman who wants to call herself Mandarb, and then
that was hilarious.
Then gives her real name later, and he speaks to the town in the meantime. On the Mandarb convo, I think she kind of opened it up with something I've never seen somebody fail at turning themselves in.
Which is hilarious. It's very Fael.
Confrontational from the get-go. That's Fael.
Yeah. I don't have as big a problem with her as some of the fandom does. She has moments where she's rather... Her culture is the way it's set with husbands and wives is very weird. For modern people, I guess. Probably for any people. It's not very logical. Her thing is, if you love me, yell at me. Be mad at me if you love me, which is a little weird. I mean,
well, I know we're going to talk a lot about her in the future. We are an hour in. We're getting to the very end of episode 3.
That gives us an hour for 4. We're good.
Yeah, Landrin busts up a marriage.
That's putting it nicely. She comes in wearing red, which I'm pretty sure is not a traditional, marriage color, but yes.
But there's the emphasis with the veil.
Yeah.
Like she just so happened to have the veil on. But then again, that's part of the culture in Tanjiko.
Right.
But I found it very in that moment. It was very profound because there was a lot more connotations to and implications there because it was a wedding.
Right. I thought the same thing, and then I had to remind myself, oh yeah, they all wear veils, and because when it showed the groom wearing the veil, I'm like, okay, that's right, they all wear it. But yeah, I did the same thing. For me, I'm a little mad at the show because they make Leandrin so sympathetic that I care about her, and I'm angry that I care about Leandrin. I shouldn't
She's
be,
very
but I am
three-dimensional.
angry that I like a little bit. And book Leandrin, honestly, hated her, always hated her. Nothing redeemable about her. This character, oh my god, she breaks your heart sometimes, and you can almost see why she's doing what she's doing, which makes me angry.
My husband thinks she should be the ruler of everybody and watch the world burn. So,
she's bucking for, she wants to get up there on the Forsaken level, I think, because she's heading that way. The group she's leading, and she is leading.
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about
there's
it.
a Forsaken watching what she's up to.
Yes,
So
she doesn't know that, but yeah,
she doesn't know it. But she's being watched, and I'm telling you, she's going to get her comeuppance. She's going to be knocked down a peg.
It is worth pointing out when you have a show that's an adaptation that when you have an actress like Kate Fleetwood playing Leandrin, that you're going to make these tiny changes to their character to make them less two-dimensional.
Yeah,
agreed.
Because a lot of Jordan's characters who were evil were just, as I put, LOL, I'm evil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
they were very mustache twirly evil in places where you're like, okay, that's.
And in the show, Leandrin is truly compelling. That's my word for her.
I can agree with that. At this point, I've already accepted that Kate Fleetwood is a goddess. I mean, is there anybody on this show who isn't? Honestly, see, nobody has an answer.
Yeah,
no,
I don't have an immediate answer. No, I do.
No,
I don't.
I couldn't tell you a single person.
I think we had the same thing happen in an Expanse, for instance. We had various characters who were bad guys, who from the books were more two-dimensional, became more three-dimensional in the show.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time in adaptations.
True.
Yeah.
You just don't let a good actor go to waste doing a two-dimensional character.
Yeah, 100%.
Both? Noman Garden? Both?
Yeah. Okay.
Compelling and compelling.
After the second longest week of my life, we got episode 4.
Oh gosh.
I've seen a few people say this is not only the best episode yet of the Wheel of Time, but could be classified as one of the best episodes of television ever.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Now, I can only agree with that under the one condition that you've watched the show so far. If you came in on this flat, no. But we start out
to do that.
Yeah, we start out with Rand and Lan practicing, and Rand tells Lan about something his dad taught him.
Flame in the Void. We finally get the Flame in the Void, which is discussed like almost immediately in book 1.
Mm-hmm.
We learn about it extremely early with Rand in his archery competitions when he's thinking about it. But I do love the fact that we're getting Rand and Lan connecting more this season, and I'm very happy about it. We do see they are developing a relationship, and Rand is opening up to him a little bit. They have a pretty good conversation about, Rand saying, "Look, there's all these things I can't be. It would be nice to find something I can be." And I mean, that's not the type of thing you could see him saying to, say, Moraine. He would just never open himself up like that to her at this point.
Trying to think, it was episode 2. Moraine was talking to him about the One Power,
Yes.
and she had mentioned something about surrendering himself to him. Like, that's the exact opposite of what you do with Sedai.
Yeah, no, you have to grab it and force
Pull by the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting with this. Land is asking him questions, and
Sorry,
he listens to Rand. Moraine doesn't necessarily ask him questions. She tells him what he needs to know.
Right, which is problematic. And that's one of the things he says. She says, you know, why are you? Yeah, he's like, he listens. That's his answer. He listens. And she gives him a dirty look, and it's like,
he's a rag doll. He's huge. And furry. He's all fur.
Yeah, it's interesting how Lan and Moraine each have their own way of dealing with Rand. And it's not a good cop, bad cop type thing, but it's interesting how they each have a different approach.
Well, one is working and one isn't. So you think Moraine would take notes at least? Because her approach isn't working. And that's her whole issue. It's like a battle of the cats. Do I need to get my cat?
Well, obviously.
I mean,
So.
one approach almost got Egwene killed, and the other approach, you know, saved his friend Nyniamh. So,
okay,
that's true. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that does work.
But it was good to see the Flame in the Void come out. Finally, I thought that was going to be last season, but it's good.
Well, as we all know, that's sort of how he handles channeling. In the future is the Flame in the Void.
Mm-hmm.
So I think establishing that now before he begins to get control of it is a good idea. Would have been great if they would have done a little bit of weapons training in season 1, like Matt with a quarterstaff and Rand with a sword, just a little, maybe a scene or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I get we can't have everything, and they have a limited time and limited budget. So,
okay, we're just gonna get one entire episode of Matt with a staff beating somebody.
Yes, please.
I would actually watch that, and not only that, I would pay to watch that.
Yep. So next we get a first. We're actually inside an Aiel tent, and you got Egwene, Moraine, Bear, and Mullane talking, and there is a lot of information that comes out in this, particularly about the Aiel. And why don't we go into that? I'm going to step away for a minute. I'll be right back.
I think the main thing we learn is Land does not like sweat tents. And
that's later, but we do learn he does not like sweat tents.
Yeah,
absolutely, you are correct. They start off with them having a conversation about how the Aiel are more than willing to talk about things that they don't care about. And I'm like, you should listen, because what they're talking about is important. It's just not what's on your mind at the moment. But I think it goes to show that the Aiel culture and Moraine's way of doing things do not mesh well, especially at first. So I think it's a great example, and it's good writing. Just to have that clash there of sort of cultures and thoughts. But yeah, I think we pretty much go from there.
To Avienda and Lan.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Which I am trying to pull up, and for some reason it's not letting me. There we go. Now it'll let me. Woohoo. So we get this. She attacks Rand and says, I told you, no swords, especially this close to Ruidian. And she takes him down. This gets Lan mad. Well, not really mad, but gets Lan's back up. And she's like, do you want to dance with me, Annaline? And he's like, just undoes his blade. You'll notice he's laughing and she's enjoying it as well.
They're both having a good time.
This is not a fight. A lot of people are upset. Like, she wouldn't be able to take his sword like that. It's like, dude, they were playing. This isn't a fight. This isn't a fight.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally playing. He's laughing. She's laughing. They are coming very close to each other, but nobody is cutting anybody.
The one thing I would say is that with was it the Maiden's Kiss game?
Yeah.
Like, they laugh with that, but people do die playing that.
I mean, maybe people like you. I'm a pretty good kisser, man. I think it'd be all right. At least my wife says so.
Like, so it is worth, thinking that they were having fun sparring, but like Maiden's Kiss, people die.
Oh, yeah, you could die in a sparring accident, but I think they're both too good for that. And you're right, Rapunzel. It is a chance for Lan to actually cut loose that, like, he can't with Rand because he's got to be extra cautious.
And I liked it. I loved the interaction between the two of them and how they were fighting, and they were both like laughing and enjoying it. But I could see what was about to happen. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah, I even said it to Drew. I was like, I feel like this is about to be her last ever dancing of the spears. And then 2 seconds later, they came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, man. Does it have to be now? And, sure enough, yes, it does have to be now, apparently.
I did like how they made it clear that she actually avoided her duty by going over the spine to look for Rand, for the Caracarn. Yeah.
And it put into context why she was so like, who did you tell in the previous episode? Like, she was so freaked out. It really put that into context. She was clearly hoping to sneak back in and nobody know that she was back across the spine, but obviously that wasn't meant to be for her. So,
yeah, she is approached by the wise ones who tell her to stop, and it's time to put away the spears. She's run as far as she can with the spears, which is just a heartbreaking sentence. Yeah. And her response of, but I'm a maiden of the spear, is just so heartbreaking because it's so hopeless. It's a statement, but at the same time, it's sort of an empty statement that even she doesn't fully believe anymore. Her moment is coming. She knows it. And that's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And she has to hand over her spears, and her time as a maiden of the spear is over.
I love that they broke them. I was there going, break them, because obviously that's what happens in the book. And then when Bear did it, I was like, it was a bit of a moment, but also, poor Avienda, you know?
Well, and for her, it's a seminal moment in her life. That which
it's
was
a divorce.
Is no longer. Yeah,
It's a divorce. They are literally married to their spears, so breaking them is akin to divorcing your husband, I guess, or even having your husband pass away, God forbid, which is just horrible.
Yeah.
But that's the way they think of it and they view it. So you could see the pain in Avienda's eyes, but you could also see the knowledge that I do have things to do. So which, they strip her of the cotton sore as well. And I think the show has done a really good job of taking these random naked moments out of the book that don't necessarily make sense. And I think we should acknowledge that, because you don't need to be naked to run to Ruidian. Especially only the females are naked. Rand didn't have to get naked.
No.
So
it's the same throughout the whole book. Anything female books, female related, they were naked. Men related, they weren't.
But I like the fact
Raph could have just made all the guys run naked.
Hey, you know what? Turnabout's fair play. I actually would be like, all right.
Yep.
We kind of had this coming. We've been reading these books over and over for years. That's a lot of boobs we've seen in our heads. So
Josh should probably be up
that-
for it.
That actually takes me back to, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Northern Exposure.
oh yeah. I love that.
Okay.
Move to
And-
the Alaskan town. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the main character is a New York doctor, a newly minted New York doctor who has to go to Alaska to fulfill his duty because Alaska basically paid for his education. And I think it was in the first season, he discovers that there is the running of the men, where all the guys in town, it's not a big
remember
town, but
that.
all the guys in town, there's snow everywhere. They strip down and they go running through town naked. And all the women are cheering them on. So,
Nope. Never heard of the show. May have to check it out though.
oh, it is at the time, it was probably one of the more
Agreed,
progressive
DK.
shows.
It
there.
was.
Yeah.
It was
I
90s.
remember watching that show with my dad. So
Yeah. I would say probably 90% of the shows were on the good to really good. A few of them were excellent, and there weren't too many that were that's okay. But a good set of actors, a good set of characters, not quite as expansive as Wheel of Time, but I recommend it.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot is honestly.
Yeah.
We cut
Okay,
to the
well-
next day, and they're heading for Ruidian.
Well, no, actually, we have a conversation here
oh, the sweat
between
tank.
Rand and Moraine.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot
Oh,
about
yes.
Yes, and where he basically has accused her of not helping him. And she comes back and says, "That's all I've ever done."
But it
that. See,
basically
this
was.
makes more sense in the books because they're teenagers and they're idiots. Rand's a little older in the show, so his viewpoint on that is a little skewed. So I can see why some people are like, Rand's kind of a dick in this scene. And I'm like, it does come off that way, but at the same time, is she doing it for his benefit? Or, I mean, he sees
Yeah.
it, she's using him for her own means. I get
Yeah.
he sees it that way. And,
And you can understand why he sees it that way because she is very driven about, like she's even admitted she'd kill him if she had to. So
Yep.
you can understand why he thinks it's more tower driven than dragon driven, if you get me. So
no, you're not, Rapunzel.
Hmm.
We love you. You're not an
So-
idiot.
Has
we love Rapunzel.
yeah. Has Moraine ever really made it clear to him that what she's doing is more for what she believes in than doing it for the sake of the tower? Has she ever had a chance to really make that point where maybe he could believe her?
No, because she doesn't talk to him, at least not openly.
No. And she didn't in season 1, and season 2 was very fast paced once they were together.
Yeah.
But there were elements in season 2 where it did feel like she was trying to put him first. But I think because of the way everything had gone in season 1, that's already in his mind. She wouldn't be truthful to them. She wouldn't tell them what everything was about. So he's sitting there now in the Aiel Waste in the Treefold Land, still thinking back to probably more to how she had treated them all back in season 1. Sorry, I'm getting a bit hoarse.
Oh, no
Um,
worries.
I
Wait,
was
you're
gonna
getting
mention-
you've got a little Bella?
I was going to
Sorry,
mention.
I don't have a Bella graphic. Leaf. Sorry.
I was going to mention that when he said like they were all teenagers, Rand was 20 at Eye of the World.
Yeah.
Was he 20?
He was.
Yeah, that's right. The girls were teenagers. Sorry.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just slightly younger. Yeah.
So in the show, he is 20 supposedly, and in season 2, he is 21.
Well, Nolan Garden has a point that anyone can be an idiot. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And then
anything
there's
in the show, he is, or the books, he is more mentally younger than in the show.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
very much more immature. I think
Yeah.
we can all agree with that.
Well, and also the way they set up season 1, it was, we did not know who the dragon was until
Right.
the final episode. So it
Mhm.
was pretty much impossible for Moraine to open up to everybody. Had she known she could open up to one, I mean, she did open up to Egwene, obviously. But,
Yeah.
as far as the quote dragon aspect of things goes, she didn't know.
Yeah.
So you can't open up to everybody. I don't
Yeah.
think.
But
I
it's how
I
it's
get that.
perceived, I think. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's how it comes across and how it's perceived. And we can even see that from the perspective of the Emmonsfield Five in the first season. But we get to see more depth with the scenes with Moraine and Lan, so we get to see a lot more insight. So we know through those that she doesn't really know more than from her interactions with the other, because she keeps saying that she doesn't really understand, she's not sure, but then it turns out she knows that if anyone other than the dragon goes to the eye, they're all going to die. So it's like she purposely held that information back, and that creates an element of distrust that has continued on through season 2 and now into season 3. So you've got Rand not really being able to trust her, because he can't trust if whether or not what she's saying is accurate, or if she's twisting the words so it sounds true,
Mhm.
or only giving half truths. But it is true that she has done everything for him, but at the same time, she has admitted elsewhere that she would kill him if she had to.
Yeah.
So,
Well, our intrepid adventurers make their way up to Chandayar, where they meet another clan.
Which I gotta say, honestly, putting
Have
them
at
in
it.
black is a little heavy-handed. Just saying.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
I mean, it looks different, but if every
Yeah.
other Aiel clan we see is dressed the same as the Tardad, it's going to be like, okay, we know who the bad guys are.
Yeah.
And here's
That's
where one of my
semiotics for you.
Well, we
yeah,
also had the
only-
comment about the Shido are the ones that killed the Tuathon, so
they
That-
suspect.
yeah.
That's what we believe. Yes.
So it's like
Yeah,
when you
they're-
have them all out saying like they believe they're the ones that killed them, like what's with that?
They're horrible.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of
Like,
are.
does that make them ale or what's going on?
I don't know.
Or is that just their hatred for that clan?
They're
That they
considered
think-
honorless by every other clan.
Yeah.
So in the books, they are considered honorless by every other clan. Just about. I think they have one ally, and that ally quickly peels off and is like, "No, we want nothing to do with them either."
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it was them, but I'm not 100% convinced it was them. It's just a setup for us to not like the Shido,
Mm-hmm.
just by the mention of their name. My one little, I have two little nitpicks with this episode, because I think this episode is a 10 out of 10. I do have two little nitpicks. One of them is, okay, they go up the ridge. The Shido are 50 feet away. You're telling me they didn't see them? They are IE.
Yeah.
The Shido were right there. And I'm like, okay, they definitely would have spotted them. They're literally 50 feet away. So that was just the one
armor.
little nitpick I had.
Yeah, it's plot armor.
And you always have outrunners, looking. So, people on point, and that was lame.
They did make up for it with Savannah, because
Oh my
holy
gosh.
cow. I mean, the wannabe
Oh my
Cleopatra of the
God.
desert. She is not only stunningly beautiful, she is gaudy as possible, which is exactly how
All
she's
the
described in the
jewelry.
books. Just gaudy.
Now,
Which
this
That
is
is
what
is
perfect.
I have a
on
complaint
point.
about her. She showed some leg, but not cleavage. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Maybe their next outfit she'll please you all over the years.
Um,
You never know, Mitch. You might get
I think
your
next
wish come true.
I think next season we may see them break with sort of ideal dress. So you may indeed see it next season. Dear God, give us next season, please.
Yes.
Sony,
Hey,
please.
the Lord.
Amazon, please. Give us next season. Thank you. We love you. Sort of. You don't give us a season, we won't. Just telling you now.
Okay. Well, just a quick question. After how this season has gone so far, can you see any conscious being in the world saying no to another season?
Rational thinking, no. Book cloak, yes. There has been some comments. Oh, lordy.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, what wiki posted something earlier on one of the discords from Reddit. There's a thread apparently on Reddit that's basically like an apologetic thread. Let me see if I can find.
Oh no. We
I
have
know.
nothing to apologize for.
You know what, DK? I did not
I
think of
was
that.
wrong to boycott the show. Apparently,
Oh.
is the title of it. I was wrong to boycott the show,
Okay.
and there's. I don't know if you can see it, but there's no, you can't.
Oh, you got to send me a link to that.
It's actually an image he sent. So what I'll do is I'll quickly post it into the Discord. I put it in, so I don't know if you want to put it up, but it's like an apology form
Hmm.
that was put up, which I was quite humorous. I thought when I got
I'm like,
up.
now I have to see it.
Okay. I see you just sent it, so I'll take a look at that in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Rand and Moraine. I say Mo here, and I went Mogedian. Rand and Moraine asked to go to Rodian, and Couladin says he asks like a girl. Because Rand had
he
only
asked like a
seen,
woman.
he'd only seen the one instance of asking, and he went through the same motions. So obviously, I thought that was a nice little dig at Rand. He's
Yeah.
trying, but he doesn't understand, which
Mm.
becomes a theme a little later.
Yeah, it does. I think it just shows his sort of mindset and his ego and how stupid it is. How does it matter how he asks? It's the fact that he's asking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, or I have preconceived bias here because that is entirely possible. I have hated him since the word go in the books. Couladin is a dick. I'm
He is.
sorry, he is.
And the actor is making you see he's a dick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you think of the
So
actor?
well done.
Yeah.
I liked him. Honestly, I think he's a perfect Couladin. I can't wait to see his head on a tent pole.
I mean, he
So well
has
done.
he has a really good hothead look to him. Maybe a little more intense eyes, but they're still pretty good.
I mean, he's got a little eyeliner, which I don't mind. A little guy liner. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm like, hey, you're one to be talking about he asked as a woman. That is some heavy eyeliner there, buddy. Either you're in an 80s band or you need to shut up.
Okay,
I mean, if you actually had down here, that's good for seeing in desert.
Yeah. Or playing football.
Yeah, or baseball.
You don't want the sun reflecting off your eye down here, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not that low.
So now we have Rand and Moraine approaching the line of spears with, I think, the funniest bit of the entire 4 episodes we've seen so far in this season.
The daggers.
Oh, the daggers.
The daggers.
I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, there's nothing funny about. Oh, wait, there is something funny about that scene.
Even the look that Rand gives Moiraine when she's putting the
Yeah.
last one
Yeah.
down, it's like, huh? So, and I've seen a lot of controversy over this scene because a lot of people are like, "But she's got the one power. Why does she have Why does she have daggers?" But I can't remember who made the valid point of she spent nearly the entirety of the last season with no power, so she needed to defend herself in some way. So she's clearly, even from the comments she made in episode 1 to Lanfear, that she's always, even though she hadn't put her shield up,
Yeah,
she
she didn't
wasn't
embrace the
unprepared.
source.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she was still
Right.
prepared. So I think it just shows that she's not wholly dependent on the one power anymore. She knows that it's important to have extra backup. But I
Well,
just love that.
episode 1 of season 3, how did the keeper take care of one of the people in the room? With a big staff? Just
You mean Leanne
Yeah.
beating the crap
yeah.
out of the
Yep.
white?
One of my
with
favorite
the,
moments of that
keeper
Yeah.
entire
staff. Yeah.
scene.
So I mean, one power is great, but sometimes you just need a physical weapon.
No one ever expects the cleavage knife. Let's be honest.
No.
Well, and you
And,
have to. Oh, go ahead.
It
Sorry.
reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in the books where involving Nyniamh, where I want to say with Mohigan, where she just goes up and decks her.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They're having, like a staring contest, and she's like punch.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta
And
love Nyniamh.
also in the books, I mean, this is an adaptation, so we can make a reference to the book. It was Matt who divested himself of
Yeah.
a couple of dozen knives when he went down to Ruidian with Rand.
Yeah.
So I think Moraine, divesting herself was a nod to that as well.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the real problem here is Rand just had one sword. The hell, Rand.
Yeah.
The fuck? Come on. Very disappointing.
You know,
He didn't even have a paring knife. He didn't even have a paring knife. Nothing. Little tiny blade. Nothing. Are you gonna whip some sticks with that sword?
Hey, kindling is kindling, however you make it.
Yeah, I mean, a sword will work just as well.
Yeah.
I guess. That shot with the spears, though, is just, when you think about it, those are people who didn't come back.
Yeah.
Right.
People came back, took their
Every one
spears
of them.
with them. So you're looking at how many people have failed, and it is this gate of spears, just a fence, and it's heartbreaking in a way that it hit me. I'm like, oh my god, that is all the dead people in there that just never made it back.
So something I never did was go back and see if Rand's ancestor that went in, if his spear was on the outside.
It was not.
It won't be, because Ruark is wearing his chain.
His necklace.
But he did say that he had kids, remember?
You're kidding. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Ruark is wearing it. There's Ruark is wearing it, and then Mandarin is wearing it. There's another one who shows up who's actually wearing it. It's only partially covered. You can just see the bottom of it. I can't remember if it was Janduin. You can just see a part of it peeking out.
I have another reason to watch it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, the only reason I mention it is like I don't remember seeing his spear out there. I never went back and looked. And who knows if Ruark just grabbed that necklace off a corpse, because that could happen.
Yeah.
That could, but I don't think so. I think he made it out.
Yeah, I think there would
but-
be respect.
I think he did survive.
And
I
the
like
other
to
thing
think he
was, like,
survived.
we know he
Let
had,
me say that.
we do know he had kids, so prior to going
Yeah,
in.
he did already have kids, so but
Yeah.
I like to think he made it out. And that his kid is Janduin. So that's
Mhm.
what's going on in my brain. So but that's my brain.
Okay. So they approach Rodian, and there's some giant statues that don't have boots. So I don't know what the
Okay. I thought never ending story too. Like it just looks like
I
never ending
went-
story.
I was straight into Lord of the Rings with that one. With the
oh,
cliffs
going
and the
through
two
the
statues.
rapids.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
crap, Mitch, we're old. We forgot. We're really old. We thought never ending story immediately. I even named the picture never ending because it reminded me of the never ending story so much.
I
Yeah.
love the never-ending story.
God, I
Just-
haven't seen that in ages.
No swamp
No,
of sadness,
neither have
please.
I.
I don't think my heart can take it.
Don't watch the third movie or beyond.
I haven't
didn't know
watched
there
beyond the
was a
first
second.
movie.
There's two,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but don't
Really?
watch beyond the second.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Dune. Don't read beyond the second.
You can definitely read beyond the second. Just don't, movie-wise, don't
Oh, okay.
watch beyond the second.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So it's definitely not Janduin stat. Apparently, I have my years way off. Thanks, Rapunzel. Appreciate that. Not
It's like
Janduin stat.
Home Alone. Don't watch past like the
Yeah, it would be-
second or something or third, whatever
I
it
don't
is.
think I have. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So we enter Rodian. Giant statues. As I said, no boots on the feet. So the innkeeper has nothing to do. And then Moraine mentions that she senses, she goes on about the fog, but she senses
The weaves in it.
Sidar.
Yeah.
And then they come up to a giant tree.
Avendasora. It was beautiful.
the tree of
Look how
life.
beautiful that is, and it's surrounded by stuff that's very phallic.
You said
That
it.
would be the tree of life, but out something
There you go.
phallic, you know. But it's beautifully done with the mists and everything.
It is very beautifully done. I don't know if you've ever seen like a moss tree that old, but
The what
they have
tree?
one at Saint Augustine. It's this huge oak with moss growing off of the actual branches. It's called the Old Senator. It's very beautiful. That's what it reminded me of, only bigger, because Avendasora is way bigger.
Well, when I lived down in Los Angeles, in fact, in Southern California in general, they have what's called the coastal oaks.
Oh,
And these oak trees, once again, get to be huge. And
Yeah.
they send
Beautiful.
branches out that are like 2 or 3 feet, or limbs, I should say, 2 or 3 feet in diameter. And they will send them out about 20, 30 feet side to side. And very impressive trees. This one takes the cake, though.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, not only that, but apparently it's also a secret hidey hole for power.
Ooh, did you notice
Objects
that?
of power. I did. Well, I didn't. Moraine did.
Well, we're not there yet. We're
Yeah,
not
I
there
know.
yet.
I'm just saying.
They've only shown us it like 30 times in this sequence.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah.
We all know she finds the pearl of power.
Okay, but we get at this point in time the story that ties Moraine and Rand together.
yeah.
Yeah, the layman scent.
Layman's Sin.
Yeah. It was a really good point in the show to actually bring that story up properly, I thought. because it really put the two of them. They're in this really eerie space, and you're thinking of prophecy, you're thinking of the past. It's all ethereal, and then the story comes out about how they've just been connected from the get-go, and I just felt that everything about it was just perfect.
Yeah, they've never addressed why the Aiel came over the Dragon Wall for the Aiel
No.
War.
Right.
They just haven't addressed it at all. So, getting that backstory now is like, oh, okay, so this was all basically to set Rand up as the Dragon Reborn in a way. And, it all comes down to her uncle cut down a tree, therefore Rand is the dragon, which he seems a little resentful of, a little bit.
Okay. Our quick question for non-book readers: was sufficient emphasis put on this particular story to where they were able to actually put two and two together and say, oh, Rand?
Well, yeah, because they spell it out.
Yeah, I think so. My husband.
You think it was clear enough? Okay.
Oh yeah, my
absolutely.
wife was like, "Oh shit, her uncle cut down the tree, and that's why Rand's mother was on Dragon Mount." And I'm like, "Yeah," and then they say that right after she said that, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So, I mean, yeah, they say it in the show.
Okay, so it's absolutely clear because it's obviously the seminal moment in the entire arc of the books, the whole series.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of the start of everything.
So yeah,
I think they were pretty clear.
How screwed up would that be if Moraine had said to her uncle, "I think you need a bigger chair"?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go to the waist to get it. Hey,
that would have been a spanner in the work.
That would have ended the story right there. No Wheel of Time.
Yeah. No,
he jumps the Dragon Wall to try and get their tree.
Yeah, let's just blame Moraine for suggesting to her uncle, yeah, you need a bigger throne. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Just the idea, like she started this whole chain of reaction.
Yeah, I mean it does, and it shows you just how much fate or the pattern has been weaving into this, setting this up, and you can see the pieces. And it's one of those rare times in life where you can trace the beginning to the end and go, "Oh my God!" You can see the steps. That doesn't happen a lot in the real world. It does happen occasionally. So,
well, speaking of steps, we have Rand entering the columns, and we have a sequence where he sees Janduin, Mandine, and then Lewin.
I just want to make one point, if I may. Whoever was in the sound department who decided to use a camera shutter sound to make a flickering noise for every time Rand was going into one of the flashbacks is a feckin' genius.
Agreed. I mean, that sort of pop of the flicker was just, not just that, but the sound design of all of Ruidian. When you go in there, it almost sounds like reverse whale song that is just eerie and off.
That ethereal background that's going on is just
it's creepy.
Wow.
Someone pointed out that it's actually the main soundtrack music in reverse.
Kevin Angus pointed out on Twitter. He's like, it's actually the theme in reverse, and it's like, oh my God, he's right.
Okay. So we have Rand go in. He becomes his father, or he sees his father first. He doesn't become anything. He sees his father first. Then he goes back. What would you say? Probably 6, 7, 8 generations to Mandine. Where
6. There's 6 total in the show. They are in order. Janduin, his father, Mandine, Lewin, Jonai, Roderick in the Age of Legends, and Charn when the bore was drilled.
Right. So before we get to Moraine's bit, Rand first goes to Janduin, Mandine, and Lewin. Lewin, of course, being probably the most significant of the three.
Mhm.
And
Emotionally, yes.
And at that point, they cut over to Moraine. But before we cut to Moraine, I just wanted to point out that's where they said, let's take Rand so far, then we'll go to Moraine. And I think it was a good point to break Rand's story.
Mm-hmm.
This moment with his mother is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Literal
what his-
tears.
As
she
his
said-
mom said to him.
Oh, when she said, who is this stranger who calls me mother?
Yeah.
I used to have a son with a face like that. I don't wish to see it on a killer. Cover your face.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
Oh, tears me up every single time. And I've watched it 3 times and I've cried 3 times.
Mhm.
And what did you think of Yosha's face as he emoted first of all, he can't believe it, and then this is going to happen, and then it is, my God, this is horrid, and then I have to live with this.
Yep.
He goes through all of those stages, and
I think he killed it, honestly. My other little gripe that I said I had a few, was the second makeup. What was his name? Mandine.
Mandine, yeah.
A little too heavy. The prosthetics, I think, were a little too heavy. He looked a little bit like the Geico caveman, and it bugged me just a little bit. It didn't take me out of it, but it just made me go, I'm not in love with that look.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I kind of had the
Those-
caveman thing too.
Yeah.
I kind of liked that. That was one of my favorite looks for him.
A lot of
'Cause it
people
showed
loved it.
definition. Yeah, it
Yeah, a
showed
lot of people
definition
loved
and
it.
that not all his ancestors looked exactly like Rand.
Yeah.
And we did have quite a lot of them that looked very like Rand. So I
I'd
think
say
it
they're-
took away that.
Say they're also not from the desert at that point.
Mm,
They're
Maybe
still
not
acclimatizing to
necessarily,
it
but yeah.
over generations and generations.
At that point, they would still be protecting the Aiel who had been carting things around, right?
no, they're dead, because when they meet Latra inside the city, she tells them the last of the true Aiel have died.
Right, but it's been a recent thing. So
I think it's been a good.
Mandeep's
probably
dad
20
could
years.
have been protecting them. So that
Yeah, I think it's been a good 20 years since they were actively out there protecting them, because they left as quickly as they could. They got out of the desert.
been. Well, how long does it take to build a giant city, right?
That was
yeah,
already
no,
there.
no. I'm talking about after the city is built.
Yeah. Well,
I'm pretty
but
sure the city was already there because
Yes.
it's mentioned. It's mentioned by one of the others. That
Jonai.
his
Jonai mentions.
that his daughter had a vision of a city in the desert, and that was where they had to go. So that was already there. That's pre-Age of Legends, at least.
right.
So
But-
yeah,
The point I was going to make, though, is it would be Mandeep's immediate father
Thank
and
you.
grandfather who would have been the ones protecting the Aiel who were still carting around all of the artifacts. And
Well, the thing
being
is,
the ones that would do the initial building of Ruidian, right?
Lewin's grandfather is that little boy in the one before,
Right.
or the one after. Yeah, after.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
sort
look-
of gives us a little bit of a time frame for that.
Yeah. So between Lewin and then Jonai, because Jonai had Adan as his grandson, and then Lewin was Adan's grandson. So you've got 6 generations going there.
Yeah.
And did you notice that Adan in both instances was wearing the same top?
Yeah, the hat.
Yeah, the hat. Go back and watch. It was the same hat or same design.
No, sir.
Same design. Yeah. So in this first group of three, what did you think of the creating of the columns?
Oh,
I loved it personally.
they made me think of ice, crystal and ice, and I thought they were great. But I have a spoilery thing that I don't want to talk about because it's much later in the books. So it made
Okay.
me think of something else that happens that we get in a later book.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
it might be a subtle nod to that without spelling it out.
I could see what you're talking about, but I don't know if it's related.
No, but I think
Yeah,
it could be a
just a
little
nod.
nod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No.
just
Yeah.
a little nod.
Yeah,
And going back to what you said earlier, the sound effects while this
Yeah, the sound.
occurred.
Camera shutter, sound effect for a flicker. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, and here it's different. And late in the show, there's another one that just gets me. But how did you think they presented the Lewin story?
Beautifully. Honestly, that's the one that breaks me every time I read the books too. It is the beginning of the warrior Aiel that we know.
Mm-hmm.
And to sort of see the pain and rejection just rips my heart out.
I'll be back.
Yeah. That just that gets me every single time. I liked all of his past lives. I mean, even Mandine, I enjoyed. It's just, when they did the close up of his face, I was like, ooh, that's a little caveman-y for me. But like I say, it's a very minor bicker. I think this episode's a 10 out of 10, without a doubt. And it is one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. It is cinematic in everything. The way it's shot, the way it's scored, the sound design, the special effects, everything is just at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, any problems I have are little nitpicks. That's it.
For the Lewin scene, I just loved how they showed the whole sequence of events of when they go into the camp, they put up their dust masks to hide their face.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
It just showcases how the Aelers act in the future. And then when the mother says, I don't want to see the face of a killer, that just reinforces the idea of Ael putting up the veils.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, just the look on Lewin's face and him going, Mom, Mom,
mm-hmm.
Mom, please, Mom. And, her looking at him with that look. It's just, I don't know if it's because I'm a parent that the thought of doing that to my own kids is heartbreaking and repugnant to me. It just makes me go, yeah, I don't like this, and it makes me sad, and I cry every single time I cry. So,
and then we got at the camp where he had the spear, and basically completely by accident, and he still picked it up, but his friend grabbed his sword, and he justified the spears for hunting, but a sword is not.
Yeah, his sort of bargaining with the way of the leaf is, this is a tool that is not. That has one purpose, to kill. This can be used as a tool, so it's good. And that's out of the books, which is, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's, this is the episode that was written by Raph. And he has been given a lot of, I want to say, shit for this whole series for how it has not necessarily followed the books.
Yeah.
But then look at this episode.
Yeah, this episode is pretty book accurate. Not 100%, but pretty book accurate.
For what they could do.
Yeah.
We didn't get the Maidens of Spear.
Yeah, that kind of that was my other little nitpick. Was I would have loved to have seen the first maiden. I love that section when it occurs.
Mm-hmm.
It does, Rapunzel, 100%.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, the hammer or the axe.
it's been a while since I read that segment. So I like being on like Rand's journey. I can't remember how the maidens is directly on his side. Like it's
when
been
they
a while.
when they split off, her husband tells her no. We're leaving with the other Aiel, the Jen Aiel, and she says they have my daughter, and she says no. One of the other Aiel warriors hands her an actual spear, and she's like, "This is too big. Can you cut this for me?" He actually cuts it, makes her a short spear, and he says, I'm not married, basically. And she's like, yeah, I'm not either. See this? This is my husband now with the spear. And, that is the birth of the first maiden of the spear. And the guy's like, right on, rock on. Gives her a dust veil, and they're like, let's go. And it's just a very awesome moment where you see a mother go, nah, I'm not going to let him run off with my daughter. I'm not going to let them hurt her. No, I'm not doing this. And I love that moment. I would have liked to have
seen it. In an interview, Rafe actually said he regretted that he couldn't present that one.
I get it.
Timing.
They're short on time. They're short on episodes. They're short on budget because a lot of money went into this season.
Yeah, I can also see they didn't want to get repetitive on another group of kids who are kidnapped.
Yeah,
that's true. There was more than one instance, right?
There were dozens of incidents, not necessarily in the books, but like throughout time, there were definitely dozens of incidents, hundreds.
Okay. So after Rand had been through the columns with the first three instances, they cut to Moraine.
Oh, yes.
She gets the orb out of the tree. I have a problem. How did she know it was there?
Did you see her lean down and put her hand by the surface and the vibrations that were going on in the surface? That was the power emanating from the ball. She could feel it.
And because
that's how she was able to trace it to its source. That's why they showed the ground vibrating the way it was.
And she could almost see the weaves in the mist. So maybe she just followed the thickness of the weaves and realized there was something important about the tree and the weaves and could sense it.
So you don't believe that maybe she knew ahead of time that something of that nature might be there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, she had no clue what Rudion was. She knew Avendasora was somewhere with the Aiel, but she didn't know it was there. I don't think she had any clue.
No idea.
And
we all think Moraine doesn't have a clue, but I'm asking about this specifically.
Well, mostly Rand thinks that. I think she's pretty smart.
She's very smart.
And so
arrogance.
She gets the orb and enters the rings. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, did you notice Latra's necklace? It's been a lot of talk
about it. I love Latra's necklace.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up, how it seemed to have different colors representing the different powers or weaves of the one power. Just a little thing that, everybody's talked about and I looked at and I loved it. So I just wanted to bring in that. I think the costuming on that was spot on. And that was a nice little sort of pairing with the necklace that seems to be handed down to the Tardad Aiel clan chiefs, which is cool. So
I was going to make a joke about Latra's necklace being kind of like Juju's petals.
Kind of, yeah.
It's.
I mean, my God, we are old. I mean, I think we're the only ones who know what we're talking about. Let's move on.
Yes, you are in fact old.
No comments.
Yeah. I guarantee you, you two probably both know about it, but you haven't watched it countless times like we have, so it's ingrained. So we go to Moraine, and she goes through her first group of images in the rings.
Yep. They're fun. It's mostly murdering Rand.
Yeah, for
in her first go around in various ways, which are, not
and
fun.
she seems to always ascend to something, except
Yeah.
for
True.
one instance.
The fishwife incident.
Yeah, she bends
there.
knee. She bends knee to Rand.
Oh yeah, there's also that. Yep.
He does have both dragons on his arms in that scene, which is weird. It's
Oh, I
like he's
didn't
in the
see
two
that.
rivers. He's surrounded by two rivers people. How did he get the dragons? And I'm like, this must be where he grew up with the Aiel. Maybe he came over the wall or something. I don't know, but how did he get the dragons? That's my question.
Maybe he goes back to the Two Rivers. Who knows?
Yeah, he might simply
After he's
return.
been-
Sure.
Yeah. He keeps
Okay.
saying he wants to go back, so maybe in
So-
that turn of the wheel he does go back instead of
Well,
Perham.
maybe it still could happen in this one.
Hmm. Well, he does in the books at one point, but he's literally like 5 seconds there and he's gone again.
Yes, we do see Egwene as keeper and Moraine absolutely just ending Rand several times
Okay.
in different ways. We see
That
different things.
was Egwene.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Egwene, right?
Okay,
there.
I
just
haven't
trying to-
paused. I haven't paused
Yeah.
to look. So, all right.
Is that Farron in the brown? In the middle of the brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
looks
is.
like
Now
her.
that you say
Yeah.
that, I think that is
Yeah.
Varen.
Yeah, I just spotted
Huh.
her.
Oh, it looks like her. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are some brutal ones, some lightning strikes, some beheadings.
Oh God.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
And then we start
as-
getting into other things like land being set on fire by, I'm pretty
Yep,
sure
what the
it's
heck?
Lanfear.
Yeah.
It's Lanfear walking up the hall. It's her laugh
Just-
we hear, I swear.
Just
And
like I'm pretty sure it's Lanfear that's going into the fish hut.
I thought so too.
Mhm.
I thought so
See-
too.
No,
Yeah.
the hair's wrong. The hair is 100% Sophie. Sophie's hair when it's down.
It's Lanfear. She can look like Rand screwing Moraine in the bed.
Yeah, but that actually was one of the things that happened, and a lot of people got bent out of shape, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, you got Lanfear and Moraine in bed together. You're not complaining about that, but you're complaining because Rand and her got together, and that happened in the books. That was one of the flicker things. So sorry, people, that is book canon.
So Mitch is saying that Lanfear was Rand in bed with Moraine.
No.
That's what I took from it. Yeah.
No, that was Rand.
Well, that was Rand's.
Okay.
My
so
head canon is Rand.
Moraine's experiences on that go around are different from her next, but in the meantime, we go back to Rand, where he sees the past through the eyes of Jonai, where this is where the split of the original Aiel occur. Roderick, who receives the orb, and Charn, who likes to make cream of wheat.
I think that's fair to say. Or bread. I mean, lots of wheat.
So, starting with Jonai, with the split, and you have a bunch of them saying we're going to go south, and he and Adon are going to carry on with the wagon, and he drags the wagon up this hill, which is near impossible for a human, and he does it because he is an Aiel. Where do the ones who split away go?
They're the Tuatha
South.
Yeah. So they just keep wandering.
Do they become the Tuatha? Though that's
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. There's the image that
absolutely
we got tagged in. The image that we got tagged in, Matt or Bill, shows a really great graph of where all the different splits were. So who was what. So we know Lewin's party were the last of the Gen Aiel, and that Jonah's party, the ones that split there, became the Tuatha An. And then with Lewin, it became the modern Aiel.
Okay.
So
And that's all fine and dandy, but I'm asking from someone who's watching the show, would they pick that up?
Yes, because of the way they leave.
yeah, and they mentioned the
Okay.
song.
Yeah, and the song is actually, it's very softly played in the background, so we actually hear the song first in this scene before we hear it when they're threshing the wheat. You
Mhm.
can barely
Okay.
make it out, but it's there. So
Yeah.
pay attention to the sound design. during
Oh,
that
okay.
scene.
I didn't pick that one
Yeah.
up. Excellent.
So
Love
there's the
it.
talk of this song,
love
and
this
there's
show.
the mention of the way the leap. So we know that they're the Tuatha An from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little subtle nod.
Now, then we go further in the past to Roderick, who receives the orb from Latra,
Yes.
and he leaves on the last horse out of town. What did
Bella?
you think? What did
It
you
was Bella.
think of?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, there you go. The fact that there was a small group with them at that time who were launched on their way by
10,000.
Latra.
10,000,
Uh,
they name it. There's
Well,
10,000
yeah,
cuttings and 10,000.
right, but there was just a small group there. I'm assuming that's probably each one that leads 1,000 or something like that. I would imagine there's some kind of hierarchy there. What did you think of the
Good call,
starting
Sherpa.
gates? I thought the starting gates for the race looked really good.
It was very very Roman. Made me
Yeah,
think
Roman
of,
Colosseum sort
yeah,
of
that's exactly
Palladium races. Yeah.
yeah,
I got the same vibe.
Circus Maximus kind of thing
Yeah.
vibe. So that's what that made me think of.
If anything, it's interesting to see the potential downslide of technology from breaking to Age of Legends.
Mm.
Yeah, they had a lot of metal. Even the wheels, I kind of noticed this. The wheels were metal, though they were spoked, but they seemed metallic as well. And everything kind of looked like some sort of what do they call it? That stuff that keeps heat and cold in. But
Insulation.
Insulated?
yeah, it looked like insulation material and all that kind of stuff. They kind of give it that modern-ish look.
Mhm.
And then what it actually ended up being degraded to, I need to go back and pay attention to wagon wheels and see if the metal wheels were carried on for at least some period of time.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
I don't
They got
think
bigger.
so, but I didn't really pay attention. I mean, here's the Colosseum. You can see.
So amazing.
But yeah, they do look like metal wheels. You can sort of see.
Yeah.
They look like old school stagecoaches rather than the type of traveler wagons that they end up with later on.
Now,
So
do we have any doubt that the one down in the middle in the center is Bella or not?
we're just gonna say
Oops.
it is.
I got popped away.
Let's just say it
Like,
is.
holy cow.
Okay, and now we're going to go back to Charn and speaking with Mirren. Was this probably some of the most gorgeous conversation and exposition of what was going on with just enough question about what in the heck are you talking about?
Oh, with Mirren?
With Mirren, yeah. Oh, what did I say?
Oh no, I think you said Mirren.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, what got me was how well the old tongue came across.
Yeah.
They were speaking this entirely, bonkers language, but they were doing it with such emotion that you bought into it. And, as you're reading the subtitles, it fit with their acting, which, I appreciate. So I think the old tongue made it just a little bit better for me. Sort of spiced it up just a little bit. And I see you grinning, Max, because I said old tongue made it better. Just saying, I can see you.
Is there a context behind that, Mac?
No.
I didn't think so. But I do love seeing the human side to who will become Lanfear. Seeing her, when she was empathetic, when she was caring enough to go to one of her servants and go, "Hey, aren't you from here? Is that your family down there? You should go join them. You should enjoy your day," which is not something Lanfear would ever freaking do.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. It showed a different side to her, the earlier side to her before she became. Yeah, but at the same time, she's just about to, bore a hole in the world, in the fabric of the pattern. So
She's about to unleash the.
Yeah, she didn't know what she was going to do.
But did you see some current day mirroring in the Lanfear that's exposed to Rand?
Yes,
No.
in the dream sequence.
No.
No,
I
we have a no and a
faking
yes.
it.
I love it. I love it.
I see her faking it really well because at the same time she's choking Egwene. She's literally at the same time choking the life out of Egwene, dressed as Egwene's biggest trauma. So no,
But
she's faking it.
That's so on point for Lanfear, though. She's like, nobody else can have Rand, and she's so jealous of everybody else. But at the same time, she wants her loose Theron, and she wants to show that she's still a good person underneath. But yeah, she's just totally twisted. Totally twisted.
Yeah. I mean,
but it did show some vulnerability, I think, for him. The vulnerability is with him.
No, it's an act. She is literally stringing him along. That whole damsel in distress she pulls, get out of here. That is not real. Well, if you helped me, we could kill the Dark One and I could break my dark oaths and then we could be together and I wouldn't be this bad. While she's choking out his girlfriend.
This is why
that's BS.
Oh,
this is why I'm saying.
Who agrees with me? Who agrees with me?
This is why I'm saying if Asmo. This is why I'm saying if Asmo comes in this at all, he needs to be like Boy George and just flirt with Rand to get Lanfear to want to murder him.
I would love that.
All right.
Because Lanfear is not going to stand another person flirting with Rand.
Yes. Okay, so with the Charn episode, the destruction of the it's a Chosen Call, right? That's what it's called.
No, the Sharum. Sharum.
The Sharum. Okay.
Yeah.
The Chosen Call is the giant statues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the Chosen Call
versions
will not be in the show. I think it's been replaced by the Sarkarnan.
I thought the destruction of the Sharum was interesting in that you had this one physical ball fall, and unfortunately we never actually saw it make contact and do the destruction that it would do. I think that would have been a cool thing to see, but then they focused on the residue that was overhead.
It's taint. You can say it. It's taint.
It's taint. There is what I call the 50,000 volt short circuit sound that occurred during that noise. I love it. The last time, there it is. I actually was able to pause and caught that actual frame. How many frames are there? It's like 1 or 2, 3 maybe of that. where you get the close up. It just happened so fast.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
We do get a decent shot of the boar, which looks like an eye. A little bit
Yes.
of Sauron going on there, which I love. A little, because Jordan loved Lord of the Rings, and that's their way of throwing a little homage in. Just like Lewin is basically a hobbit at the beginning, and he's high as hell. They even mentioned he smoked too much. So
yeah, that was kind of a oddity, wasn't it?
yeah, I thought it was funny.
All right.
I was just thinking about it. When we figure out the boar's location, we know where that's at in the map, in the books.
Mm-hmm.
And where, like, Rand's supposed to be, or not Rand, but I can't think of the ancestor's name. If they're still in that general vicinity when they sent them south across the spine, that's quite the ways to go for the breaking.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're going straight south past the spine, then to the desert, that's quite the ways to go.
Are we given the exact location of the
No.
Never.
mushroom?
No.
And the college?
Sure.
And you have to remember, everything has since been uprooted and moved around, and it's all gone to crap.
Because in the book, I believe it is implied that is Shale Gall.
Is it?
So that's the heart of Shale Gall?
I don't remember. I need to reread that part.
Because he has to go to Shale Ghul to go into it, to go to into the inside of that to battle the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a place. I'm trying to
Like,
remember.
it's been changed since then.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the
All the
environment
breaking.
must have changed a lot. So obviously some mountains have come up and swallowed it in. So to protect it.
At least that's what I seem to recall. Is like, I believe that's what happened to that location.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt you. I just don't remember that. I'm gonna have to look that up or find that chapter. But yeah, I don't doubt you. I forget little details here and there, and I have the hardest time with sort of years and the difference between, especially the column years. I can never nail down the time gaps between those.
Now, I heard a rumor that Nyniamh may need to go to work tomorrow, so she might want to catch some sleep. So we have Rand coming out of the columns, and the dragon and the dragon tattoos grow out of his skin. What do you guys think of that effect?
I loved it.
Brilliant. Like, you can
100%.
see them being carved into his arm. Oh, it was great. I just loved the whole episode. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And then immediately after that, we have Avienda sees the tattoos on his arms. She's obviously not happy, calls him Wetlander as she walks away.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's a kindergartner and she shows affection by being mean.
I think also because he didn't just leave Moraine there.
Yeah.
And for good reason, because in the next sequence, Moraine dies.
Yeah.
Also, Lanfear really loves that sword.
Yeah, man. And she had 50 different ways of killing her with it, which was kind of cool.
Impressive.
Not gonna lie.
Was that a custom sword, or is that something she got off the rack?
She stole it.
It looks like Lan's Valkyrie blade, honestly.
Actually, hadn't thought of that.
There was one sequence where I got a decent look at it, and I'm like, that looks like Lan's Valkyrie sword.
Okay.
I'm trying to find.
I feel like there was a scene where she killed Lan, took the sword, and that's how that came about.
That could be the fire scene because he doesn't have a sword on him when he's on fire.
Oh, okay.
When land is on fire. Yes, correct. Yeah.
So yeah, that those could be linked. I mean, she went through so many, and I'm not gonna lie, I got a little motion sick with. I was staring at the screen, and I had to look away for a minute, almost like I was seasick. I'm like, "Whoa, easy," because it just kept going.
I mean, there might be a reason you were seasick is because she was shot underwater doing that.
Yeah.
Do you mean the floating? Her and Avienda floating in the rings?
They were actually in
yeah.
water.
Well, the
And
story
there's a whole
is
reason for that. Yeah.
well, the story is that she had taken some massage lessons that occurred in water,
Hmm.
and she had there was video shot of that. She sent that to the director, I think it was. The director showed it to Rafe, and Rafe went, "Ooh, great idea!" And that's what they used to generate the concept of doing this. Now, if she had actually been doing it underwater while they shot, that I hadn't heard about.
Or something like that. That's all I heard was like there was
Okay.
doing that, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea, but that sounds cool. So sure, let's go with it. It's now, it's out there in the fandom.
Yeah,
we'll go with sure.
So we're going to finish up the evening with Egwene and Lan are waiting at the tents, and then Rand and Moraine come out of Ruidian at dawn.
At dawn.
I
Actually,
like
sunset.
what they did there. Well, yeah, because Rafe called it sunset.
Yeah.
But
we know it was actually the sunset.
Sunrise.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was such a beautiful, beautiful scene, and the reasoning behind it all just made it even more profound. Because apparently they had a load of stuff written for this, but they decided to completely abandon it and just let the actors do what they needed to do in silence.
Oh,
And
I heard about that. Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
look at how incredible it is. That scene made me cry.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop crying. And look, I'm getting teary thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was just so emotionally moving. And, the fact that they just abandoned script and everything and just did what they needed to do to make the scene what it
Well,
was.
I'm sure
Incredible
the
acting.
moment the director and the director of photography saw that in the background, they said, "Yeah, we're going to shoot whatever we get."
They only had a small amount of time window for the
Yeah,
sun, so that's why they had to just go, look, we need to do it now,
yeah.
or
If they
we'll
had
lose out the opportunity.
if they had more than 30 minutes, I'd be surprised. Maybe an hour on the outside if
Yeah,
things work out just right. But yeah,
yeah,
What really did it for me was as he's handing Moraine over to Lan, you see her look at Rand and reach her hand out almost
yeah.
as if she doesn't want him to let her go.
yeah.
And then she pulls her hand back and she gives him this look that is just,
The two of them just looking at each other.
it's I'm sorry, it's I'm wrong, it's I love you, it's I'm still gonna do what I have to do. It's all of that wrapped into one look, and Rand just has that look on his face of
Yeah.
sheer shock. And I swear you can see one tear streak.
You
The
can,
sand
yeah,
on his face, you can see one tear streak, and
yeah,
that just cinched it for me. I'm like, this is one of the best scenes, and it's just silent. And in
yeah,
that silence, you fill it with emotion, and it's just
yeah,
so well done. It's one of the reasons this episode resonated so well with me is every emotional beat they hit out of the park.
Yeah.
There were no doubles, there were no triples. Every emotional beat, they absolutely hit it out of the park. So this episode is without a doubt the best episode of Wheel of Time I have seen so far.
No,
Bar none.
100%.
no.
Yeah.
No, it's okay if you disagree with me. For me, this is the greatest episode of Wheel of Time I have seen.
And for me as well, it's just no other episode moved me and made me cry the way that episode did. And
Agreed.
every time I've rewatched it now, I think I've watched it 3 or 4 times. every single time that episode grabs me, twists my heart, and makes me want to sob. It's just shows the power of the cinematography, the acting, the setting, the music, the script, everything. Just an incredible, incredible.
True. At the very end, I thought the way that Egwene was looking at Rand and how she's able to kind of show, she cares, but she's so concerned all at the same time. Just that, the actress kills me.
Mhm.
She I think of all the actors that we've got, and her name escapes me at the moment, but she's just, I think she's the best. Just the way that she can look when she needs to
Yeah,
look a certain way.
Madeline Madden.
Madeline
yeah.
Mad, there it is.
Maddie's
Okay.
incredible.
Yes. I just think, she gets looks on her face that can't be duplicated.
Well, no doubt. I mean, my second favorite episode is episode 6 of last year, which is
Oh
very
yeah.
heavily Maddie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was actually just going to bring that up is
Yeah.
speaking of favorite episodes, like this is on top of the list right now. Then you have Eyes Without Pity, which was a very
Yes.
Maddie heavy episode.
Mhm.
And then you have the Nyniamh episode where she goes through the
Yeah,
rings.
the arches.
Yeah.
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 And I think the episodes where they just slow down and give us more time with the character to go through these things are the peak episodes.
Okay.
I can agree with that,
Which side
but
is
I
this
understand.
again?
So what was that?
Which website is this?
What website?
What are you talking about?
You're quoting from something.
No.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
The name of the episode was Eyes Without Pity.
Oh, okay. I thought
that-
you were. I thought you were talking about a website that was saying these things. These
No.
are your
No.
opinions.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I like
I'm just saying that the episode Eyes Without Pity, season 2, episode 6, was one of the best episodes of like season 2. And then you have the episode with Nyniamh. I can't remember if that was episode 2.
Yeah, it was episode 2 of last year, and I think it's pretty. Until this episode, I think that was the longest cold open.
And
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but lasted for a good 12 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
And I think this one was 17, close to 18.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
And I was just saying, in my opinion, is that when they slow down and focus on one or two characters for the episode, that's the peak episodes.
Okay, so the Arches was season episode 3
203.
of last year.
So
Okay.
it'd be what might be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, mine basically goes this episode, Eyes Without Pity, and the Arches, what might be. So those are my top 3.
And when we were talking earlier about episode 3 hype and how the episode rated,
Dennis is smacking you right in the face with that too.
the hype for this episode was very high.
I think the fear was very high for this episode as well. A lot of
Yeah.
the fandom was sort of, please don't screw this up, because if you screw this up, this
Yeah.
is done.
So for me, it wasn't.
I
It was
mean-
not that part. It was the hype that was already built up prior to that for how good the episode was.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
all knew
they
this
They
was
weren't
a
wrong
similar
though.
There
episode,
were great
but I was anxious.
expectations. There
I'm
were
like, they
great
have to
Yeah.
get this right. I've been saying it all along. This season is the season they have to nail what
Mhm.
they're doing, and I've been saying that since the middle of season 2. I'm like, this is great, but next season is make or break, because I knew we were going to have to go to the Aiel Waste, and I'm like, how they do that is absolutely going to make or break them, and I think they are making it. They have found the secret sauce. They're there.
Okay, so I've got 2 ratings you need to make. This episode, season to date.
This episode, 10 out of 10. 0 notes. This season, best season of Wheel of Time, I think, overall so far.
Okay.
Agreed.
Even though episode 1, I think the pacing was a little up and down. I still stick to that. And I am 100% convinced Rima is not Rima. Rima
You're not the only
is a
person to say
Forsaken.
that. Everybody's
Okay.
saying it's Summer Haig.
Oh.
It's Cimarron, I'm telling you, man.
Oh. All right.
Rima is not Rima. I'm sticking to that. And I said that, weeks ago? And everybody laughed at me. And I'm like, I'm telling you, Rima is not Rima.
I did not laugh at you because I didn't hear it. Nyniamh, what's your take on the episode and the season so far?
Definitely 100% have to agree with Bill on this one. Best episode to date, best season to date. Now, I was lucky to see this in London, so that just seeing that episode that time just was like, whoa, oh my god, whoa. It felt like we were getting, and it found its feet. And it just shows and proves that you need to give shows a chance to find their feet before doing anything, because too many shows get cancelled without given a chance.
Looking
And
at you,
Wheel of
Netflix.
Time is proof. Yes.
Yeah.
Chaos, I will never forgive you.
Warrior
Wheel of
Nun was
Time
awesome.
proves that a show just needs the chance to prove itself. And season 3 has done that. And episode 4 has nailed it.
Absolutely.
If they do not renew it after this, then they're idiots. That's all I can say.
I agree. Hey, Max, what do you think?
I'm gonna go 9.5, just because that hype got just from, let's say, everyone that has already watched it said it was like the best ever episode. Just kind of like just brought it down a hair. If I had completely ignored everything, it probably would have been a solid 10.
Okay.
That's fair.
The season
on
as a
my-
whole,
Oh
is
yeah,
9. Would
Sorry,
be a,
go
probably a
ahead.
9 so
9.
far.
Yeah.
Okay. And my scale, of course, goes to 42. So
Yay.
this episode, I give a 38 out of 42, and for the season so far, a 37. I can't go any lower than that. It's just been magnificent.
I think we can all agree on that. And we want to
Yeah.
thank you folks for being here with us. Noman Garden, Rapunzel, Sherbert Mango. We've had a really good crowd interacting. Thank you guys. Yes, be sure you're tagging Sony and everything. From what we understand, Amazon is on board for season 4. We just need Sony.
Yeah.
So tag Sony Entertainment.
Sony.
Entertainment and all your posts. Hopefully we can get engagement up and Sony will take notice. We want to thank you all for being here again. Max, thank you for being here. Mitch, always, thank you for being here. Neve, thank you for waking up so freaking early for us.
Yes! Indeedy.
We love you.
You're welcome.
It's always great to have you
been
here.
amazing. I love doing stuff like this. I love being able to talk about books. You know me.
I
Once
know.
I start
And
talking about books, you can't shut me up. But I love the show. The show was what finally got me to bloody well read the books after 20 years with my cousin nagging me to read the books.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I should be a shit. I hang my head.
Don't.
So
You read
Bill,
it. You did it.
Bill,
We are
we're
happy.
sorry. We're going to start the next 3 hours right now.
With that, guys, thank you for being here.
Yep.
And don't forget to be awesome.
Take care.
Thank
See ya.
you.